So James Gunn made a whole bunch of DC announcements yesterday, and I wanted to talk about them because if you know me, if you've watched any of my videos before, you probably know that I'm a DC boy. And if you don't know me, and this is your first time watching one of my videos, hey, I'm Wes. Nice to meet you. Like and subscribe. Thanks. Now roll the intro. Okay, so the first thing I want to make note of is the first thing that James Gunn made note of, which is that Matt Reeves' Batman movies, Todd Phillips' Joker movies, and for some reason the Teen Titans Go show are all labeled moving forward as DC Elseworld. I don't know why he made specific note of Teen Titans Go. That seems like it's a little too far removed from anything that DC's doing right now. I mean, I get that it's a DC show, but didn't really feel like it needed to be included. But anyway, I like that Matt Reeves' Batman universe is going to be contained and allowed to be its own thing. I think that'll give it a lot of room to breathe and develop into its own universe. As for Todd Phillips' Joker movies, I mean, I liked the first one. It was something I enjoyed, but it wasn't my favorite movie, which does probably say a lot because the Joker is quite possibly my favorite character of all time. I liked that movie. I didn't love it, but I did like it. I am interested in the second one though. The idea that it's a musical and Lady Gaga is going to be there sounds interesting. I'm ready to watch it. But the point is, I'm glad these things have been established as DC Elseworld. That's good. That's really good. Clears up a lot of the confusion that I've seen all over the internet for years. So that leads me to the current slate of DC movies set to release this year. These films being Shazam 2, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and the second Aquaman movie. When it comes to these movies still releasing, I gotta be honest, I'm a little confused. Outside of Blue Beetle, which seems like it makes sense, you could probably fit that in the new DC universe or whatever we're building, right? But as for Shazam, Aquaman, and The Flash especially, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why are these movies being released? I understand that they are full films that took millions of dollars to put together and so many artists worked on them and you had a full vision from a director and producers and all this, you know, it's a huge project. It's a big undertaking. I get that. What I don't understand is that if we're restarting and we're resetting, why are we still releasing movies that are set in the last iteration of this universe? That makes no sense to me. And on top of that, why are we releasing a movie involving Ezra Miller, a person who has been known to be extremely problematic? I don't get it. I don't understand. Why would you still release that film? Is it really that good? That's my next question, because they're talking about, like James Gunn even says in this video, how much he loves that movie.
The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love.
He doesn't say that about any of the other ones. He says it about the Flash movie. Maybe he's trying to cover up for the fact that he knows everyone thinks that movie should not be released. Maybe he really loves it. What my question is this. Is that movie really that good? Because if it is, then maybe I could see why they feel this need to release it. As for me, I don't think it should be released. I think it should be completely shut down, canceled, throw it away. Like, throw it away. Throw Ezra Miller away at this point, whether they're recovering or not. Like, good for them. I'm happy that Ezra is doing good things for Ezra. But what about the people that have been hurt? What about all these horrible things that they have done? Do I want the best for Ezra Miller? Of course. Do I think this Flash movie should be released? Do I think Ezra Miller should ever get work again, potentially? Not really, no. But that's up for debate. Sorry, I went on an Ezra Miller rant, but the point is, I don't understand what the vision is for this universe. Why are we building to this new thing if we're going to keep putting out stuff from the last version? Everything has been scrapped. Everything has been thrown away, it seems, right? Except for these movies. And why? For what? And it seems like everyone is returning to their characters, to their roles for some reason, except for Henry Cavill. I don't understand that either, but I guess I'm just concerned and confused as to what the future is gonna be with this. Why are we doing this? Should these movies not just be direct to HBO Max or something like that at this point? Because sure, if they're fully completed feature films, you want to release them because so many people worked on them. Just put them on HBO Max, then we can check them out that way. Like, they're still there, they still exist, they're still out. But don't promote them as if they're this mainline, you know, part of the new DCU, because that's what it comes across as. I don't understand. I'm just very confused. So the DCU's first chapter, because they don't want to call it a phase, is called...
This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters.
I love this title. It sounds epic and intense. I'm really into the wording they're using here. I like what they're going for. Many films and shows were announced. Superman Legacy, a film about Superman being well into his lifestyle as Superman, trying to embrace his Kryptonian heritage, but also not forgetting his earthly upbringing. That sounds interesting to me. I don't know if I am looking super forward to it, but it does sound pretty interesting. The Supergirl movie that they announced is far more interesting to me because it's the idea that she grew up on Krypton after it was mostly destroyed, and the people that surrounded her in her life all passed away or were murdered or whatever throughout her life until she was about 14, and that's when she comes to Earth and finds Superman. And she's a much more jaded character. I don't think they're gonna do like she's full-fledged evil, but she's definitely a lot angrier than Kal is. So I'm very interested in that one. They also announced Batman Brave and the Bold, which is going to focus on, I'm assuming, a Bruce who is pretty well into his career as Batman, and I'm assuming as well has already had a couple Robins, because they said that the Robin they're focusing on in this film is Damian Wayne, and I'm somewhat worried about this movie. The idea that we're skipping other Robins to come straight into Damian is a bit concerning to me. I don't mind it, especially if they establish in the movie that Nightwing and Red Hood, you know, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, their stories already happened, then I'm fine with that. James Gunn, don't you dare ignore the greatest Robin of all time, Tim Drake. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that movie. I'm skeptical about a lot of the things that got announced. The Swamp Thing film, I'm looking forward to that because he said it's going to be a horror film, and even though thematically and narratively it's going to be much darker and far removed from the rest of the DCU, it will still tie into the overarching themes and stories that they're planning here. I'm really looking forward to the show set in Themyscira, which is going to be great, I think. Very Game of Thronesy, but with shades of Wonder Woman's origin, and I like that. I think there's a lot of potential there. The Lanterns show, which I'm very excited about, personally looking extremely forward to, because my main man, Jon Stewart, is finally getting some recognition and getting a live action interpretation. I'm assuming this show is live action. He didn't explicitly say that it's animated. I'm gonna have to go look back at the video to see if it says live action or animated in the little corner there, but I'm looking forward to that movie because it's like a true crime detective show, but they are galactic policemen basically, and you get Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart teaming up. Sounds beautiful to me. I love that idea. As for the Amanda Waller show, see, now that's where we get into a little bit of a dodgy area again, because I think James Gunn wants to have this whole situation where he's rebooting the DCU, but he's also not fully rebooting the DCU because he created some of the stuff from the last universe, the new Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker show. He really loved those properties. I mean, the Peacemaker show was great. Everyone loved it. But what's the deal, James? Are we rebooting the universe or not, man? Are the Peacemaker and all of the Amanda Waller stuff going to be considered Elseworld DC as well? Or are they part of the mainline universe? He didn't say. Is Blue Beetle going to be in the new universe, the mainline DCU? Or is it going to be an Elseworld title? I'm really confused. I want to know what that means. They're doing a Creature Commandos show, which I don't really know how I feel about that. The Creature Commandos were always very throwaway characters. They didn't really matter. They're doing an Authority movie, and I mean, again, I don't really know how I feel about that until they announce casting and directors, because there's a very right or wrong way to do those characters. Trust me, I'm a huge Midnighter fan. He's sick. I love the character. Apollo, Jenny Sparks, all those guys. Jack Hawksmoor, there's so many interesting things and cool things to do with these characters. I'm a fan, but these are characters who are not known to the general audience, and that's something I'm a little concerned about. Why would you choose to make these movies your mainline thing? I get that he took the Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel and turned them into like these huge superstar characters that everyone loves, and I don't know if these are the right ways to get people into your universe. People loved the Guardians for what they were because they were already invested in the Marvel universe. The MCU had been built pretty heavily up to that point already, so introducing the Guardians after that made perfect sense. Doing that movie well, which he did a great job with both of those films, further credited him as a director and as a creative. But starting out with something like The Creature Commandos, I don't know how good of an idea that is. Granted, he didn't say if this was the order. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna start with Superman Legacy, but including these other very small, very random characters that hardly anyone knows unless they have spent their entire lives reading DC comics like me, very few people are gonna know them. It's a little concerning. I want DC to thrive. I want DC to be number one. I love DC. Everything about DC means so much more to me than any other type of comic variation, except for maybe Spider-Man. Spider-Man is very special, but I love DC. I've always loved DC. I'm a DC guy. I'm a DC kid. WB kid. Like, that was my shit as a kid. I love that stuff. So I want these shows and movies to do well. I'm interested in what he has planned for the future because he keeps mentioning gaming as well in his big 8 to 10 year plan. So hopefully there's something interesting going on there. But I'm really hoping for a lot of Elseworld projects. I want more Elseworld stuff. I think DC could thrive, especially if they pushed the Elseworld storylines, because if we're not focusing on a mainline universe and not trying to have everything interconnected the same way Marvel did, and many other universes have tried and failed miserably, looking at you, Dark Universe, why are we still trying to capture what Marvel is doing? Don't chase them. Do your own thing. That's my personal opinion. You could be your own thing, not doing necessarily what Marvel did, and still being able to connect things at the end if that's what you want. But I think that would be far more successful. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, what do you think of all these announcements? Do you agree with any of the stuff I said in this video? If you do, let me know in the comments. If you don't, also let me know in the comments. If you think I'm stupid, let me know that in the comments too. If you love me, I love you too, dude. What the heck? Alright, but thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Share this video around. I want to know what people think. I'm really interested in this stuff. DC means too much to me for me to just keep sitting back and not talking about this. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. And to Peter Safran and James Gunn, please don't let us down.